welcome to the third in our series of podcasts, where we'll be meeting customers, discussing their journey in business, their journey with Regal Ed, get a bit of understanding of how the customers work and how they see the future. Today, it's really pleased to have with me Nat from Ashfen Windows in Derby.
Hello, afternoon.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, Nat, not everybody knows you. We obviously know you from a lot of people know you from your Kilimanjaro exploits.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, most people probably won't recognise me, even if they do know me, because I've dyed my hair again to try and escape and elude people. We've been open as Ashfen Windows and Doors, trading for 3 years now. My background is child protection. I've worked for prison service, youth offending and child protection before here, so you'd think it was a big leap. Interestingly, it's not. Customer interaction, communication and service skills all do still play a big part. And my role in the business currently is, and Nick and I run it together, and my role is largely administrative, with a little bit of manufacturing in the back when the need calls for it, but not much.
So Nick is the manufacturing side of the business.
He
technical.
runs the back. Yeah, he's definitely more technical.
What's Nick's background? Is he from the window industry? Or?
No, he's not. So Nick's a builder by trade, but he's one of those. You mustn't tell him I've said this, but he's one of those rather fabulous people.
He may see the podcast.
He might see it. He doesn't know what I'm coming here for, so I won't tell him that. He's one of those brilliant people that can pretty much do anything. And if he can't do it already, he just needs to either be shown or have a go at something once, and then he looks like he's been doing it for about 30 years, which is infuriating because I'm not like that. But yeah, his background is building work, and he's a very good plasterer, and he ran a building company before we started Ashfen Windows and Doors. And I always think he's a really good asset to our business, because when we're considering jobs and considering what customers need, we're not looking at it as just simply a company that manufactures windows and doors. He will go out and he'll survey a job, and he's looking at the whole thing quite holistically. He's looking at, what the customer wants, how that's going to fit into the property. Everything is kind of viewed to him as an elevation. He's looking at the internal as well and what the finished product is going to look like. He's always got a really good idea for how things are going to look. And I remember we've been renovating properties together for years, and some of the ideas he's had over the years, he said, "Oh, I really want to do this in the bathroom," and I've gone, "Oh God, that sounds horrendous." And then I say, "But go for it, because where else can you have creative license but on the places that you're doing up?" And then he does it, and I stand back and I go, "Oh God, that looks amazing." So he's always had a really good eye for things like that, looking at it as a whole picture.
And I think you've mentioned before that there's, as well as the building company, you were sometime involved in furniture manufacturing or carpentry, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, Nick's just very good manufacturing anything or putting anything together. So any kind of joinery, carpentry work, and anything like that, he's very good at. I've always said he could build a house right from the start, external, internal, with no issue. But yeah, we've got. We had a very small business for a short period of time, manufacturing bespoke pieces of furniture and actually delivering them out all over the country. And obviously one of the perks of that was our home is full of furniture that he's made. My mother-in-law's home is full of furniture that Nick's made. My mum and dad's, various friends and whatnot. And even when we were doing that, which, God, I'm talking 8 years ago, maybe, just as a rough guess. So a long time before we opened Ashfen, maybe even a bit longer. His attention to detail, Nick's attention to detail, makes him absolutely the right person to be running the back of that unit and overseeing all that work that's going out the door, because he's got a really keen eye for detail. He's very, very particular, and put something together when the end product is going to look absolutely beautiful. That's always the focus. It's not just get it done and get it out the door. It's got to look fantastic.
I mean, we've been working with you several months now, maybe even a year, on the engineered doors project.
Yeah.
You've been making all the samples for us, the prototypes. I have to agree that Nick has been very much attention to detail and not just looked at it as I need to. It's not like manufacturing windows, is it? No. It's making these engineered doors does take us an eye for detail. I think works. So our main business we've been doing together is on this engineered doors project. Thank you for sorting out the samples. I know it's been
Thank you for asking us.
It's been challenging at times, but I think we've got through some of the teething issues. And we've got a few jobs out there in the real world, and obviously our showroom and the Fit Show coming up, which will be quite a few doors going to the Fit Show stand.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Like I say, it's a year ago since you first saw the engineered door. Where do you see it fitting into the market?
Well, it was interesting because when you came to us with that design and that idea, and obviously talked to us about getting the prototypes together, I think it fit for me and Nick instantly, because we kind of went away from that. I think I said to you at the time, we'd had some of our retail customers in particular with a real focus on composite doors, but because of where we advertise, the kind of retail customers that we were attracting or appealing to were often in more heritage style properties. So we've had a lot of retail customers where doorways have been cottagey and too short and fat, and when we get the prep slabs in, you've got to work within those parameters, otherwise Nick and I aren't interested in sort of making something work. It's got to be a really feasible solution to what the customer wants. So I think straight away Nick and I both thought, wow, those customers that we've had where we needed another solution, and what we had to do at the time was get quite creative with a plastic door, a resi door, both with the colour and the designs, and we did get round it that way. But it felt like this was a brilliant solution to a customer that needs a resi door that doesn't look like a resi door, that doesn't look like a plastic door, because that's it for me really, that we had to work quite hard to kind of win certain customers over to, no, honestly, a plastic door can look really nice. Wait and see what we can do with it. Because I think people think of a plastic door as just kind of quite basic, quite functional. A white plastic door is arguably functional. The thing for me about the engineered doors is that they're decorative, they're ornate. You do look at them and go, ooh, that's going to look really, really beautiful on a doorway.
You're right, would have been. And particular designs you've been working with us on have been very sort of timber look, haven't they?
Yeah, very much so.
You've got the benefits of the PVC, which is thermally efficient.
Yeah.
Security, everything you get with them, but still that look. People want that heritage look.
People want that heritage look, and it's that kind of thing where the retail psychology of it is, are you giving people a door where their neighbours or their bypassers are going to walk past it and go, God, that looks nice? And I really think that is what the Ideal 4000 engineered doors are doing. They're giving a real wow factor, but it's a plastic door.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it's the Ideal 4000 door. I mean, it's certainly a very different window system to a lot of other things on the market with its aesthetics, but I think one of the things we've seen stand out is the foil range that they now offer. How that sort of range of colour, how's that helped you sell doors?
It's massively. I would say that certainly for some time now, our workload has probably been a third to 50% special foils. By special, in Anguplast terms, by special I mean not anthracite, not agate, not palisander. You know, the foils that are, you know, where the lead time is longer and they're slightly less accessible, widely accessible. You know, Nick and I always wanted to do something really different. And one of the things that, you know, everybody who's spoken to me about this in the industry knows that, you know, we had a contact in the industry who had, you know, kind of called time on the plastic manufacturing side in order to focus on the glass. So we sort of inherited Aliplast, if you like, from them. And that's how we were able to link in with Aliplast. And one of the first things I remember Nick and I talking about is that the colour range was brilliant. And knowing that at the time that was going to be developed into these Wooddeck and Alideck foils, there's a huge amount of interest. They're not a difficult sell at all to our customers, because our retail customers come in, have a look at what we do, and we've got Wooddeck samples and Alideck samples in the reception area, and people have a look at them and they go, they are absolutely beautiful. You stand back from a Turner Oak malt mechanically jointed flush casement window, and that's going to look as good on any heritage property, if not better. I know I'm slightly biased, than an authentic timber window. Absolutely beautiful.
I think that Wooddeck range, and it's grown again. There's a few new colours coming out. This year for the Fit Show.
Yeah.
I think they do look like timber. And the Alideck does really work for that contemporary look. Particularly, I think, with the Ideal 4000 with that.
It does. That I mean,
profile.
where we get most of our Alideck sales is people who express an interest in bifolds, and particularly where they want a window next to a bifold. It's such an easy solution, because I mean, at home, for example, we've got a black in and out bifold, and we've got the jet black Alideck in a French casement window right next to it. It looks great. It looks absolutely great. It's an easy sell, and we've ended up getting full houses of jet black Alideck in and out and anthracite in and out, just from an initial interest in a bifold. Nice. And we've managed to upsell to a whole house, because people do come in and they see those foils, they see the quality of them. When it comes to the Wooddeck, the authenticity of it, and they're won over straight away.
I think now with the Ideal 4000 entrance door, I think gives you exposed to the opportunity to the whole property, not just the bifolds and the casement windows. Exactly. You've now got the entrance door as well, which is the main feature on anyone's home, I suppose.
It is. I mean, I was saying the other day when we spoke that we've got a project underway at the minute in a really beautiful area of Derbyshire, where everything's cottagey, heritagey, but the customers built quite a large extension. So the first phase of the project, and again, Aliplast foils have allowed us to do this, because she came in and she said, it's bonkers really, it's a lovely combination. She wants a Wooddeck foil on the inside, Turner Oak malt, and then she wants the quartz growl Alideck foil on the outside. And it's to create that contrast between the internal of the house and the external is fascinating, I think, and exciting. I love doing interesting projects like that. Again, this all came from a discussion about a bifold. The second phase of that property is going to include a utility door. I've already sent her some preliminary kind of snapshots over WhatsApp, but she's going to come in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm just going to show her some of the styles. And I think that's going to be, for her, she's going to go, yeah, I think that's going to be a bit of a no-brainer, because even though those engineered doors lend themselves perfectly to an entrance door, I know she's going to want to dress up even the back of that property. Yeah. So she's going to want that same kind of quality and wow factor at the rear as she's going to get at the front.
I think we've seen it in the composite door market. I think we've definitely seen it in engineered door market as well. Customers are getting more bothered about the doors back of the house. This is probably a post-lockdown.
So.
People spending more time in their gardens.
Looking at them, absolutely.
And looking at them. And it has been sort of the the part of the any sort of fenestration projects that's been overlooked.
Yeah, 100%.
You're
Yeah.
very bothered about the windows.
Yeah.
Some lovely windows out there, flush sash.
Yeah.
Some of the VS products are stunning.
Yeah.
Entrance doors have been, but quite often you have seen on properties, we'll just put in a white PVC back door.
Yeah.
We now are seeing this growth in people actually wanting the back doors, utility doors,
Yeah.
the whole property.
It is
Look
the
at
whole
quality.
property, you know, there's a lot of money being spent on improving people's gardens, you know, replacing certain elements of the outside of the property that maybe, simply like you said, it's that retail psychology. I'm sitting looking at it more. You know, lockdown did something to us all where we did, vast majority of people I think did suddenly appreciate staying at home. And anybody that wasn't able to afford to move, for example, the focus really turned inward. And I think that that's absolutely meant that, yeah, there's been a lot of focus on how to really enhance that, simply because if I'm going to spend all my time looking at it, I want it to look absolutely beautiful. I want it to look amazing.
And obviously lockdown had a serious effect on you. You came out and joined the fenestration
Yeah.
industry. You thought, I've got to look at these windows
Yeah.
and maybe I should make my own.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a bit extreme, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. A few people over the last few years have said, you know, what was it like starting a business straight after lockdown? That never came up in conversation in our house, which is really strange. We never once said, "Oh God, is it a bit bonkers doing this?" And I wonder whether subconsciously it's because Nick and I have always renovated property, so we've always had an awareness of, particularly Nick, he's like this all the time, you know. He's a lot better at doing that kind of thing than I am, but there's always been some awareness of what's going on in the property market, and because he was so involved in building work, you know, before we closed the building company to start Ashfen, he was seeing just that. He was seeing that increase in customers wanting to kind of conduct property improvements. I even remember him coming home and saying, "Oh, such and such wants the bathroom doing," and I said, Didn't you do that for them about 4 years ago? And he said, yeah, they want it doing again. And there was a few jobs like that where people were just kind of rotating a bit like they do their wardrobe. Let's have a new bathroom. Let's have a new kitchen. But I think that's really telling.
I hope the window industry stays like that for a few years. That's what we
Nice,
all need, is the people to keep rotating those
5-year
windows.
cycle,
5-year cycles on windows.
Yeah.
You've spoken a bit about the engineered door, the fact using the Aluplast profile, particularly the 4000, with that sort of square line look, which suits itself so well to an entrance door.
Yeah.
On the hardware side, are you going upmarket? Or how are you?
Yeah, I mean, it always felt as though those doors, we Nick and I use decent stuff as standard. We don't do anything kind of cheap or nasty or anything like that. But it felt like these doors needed something more. And I think that creating that overall look of, this is a luxury door, this is a door that's carrying that wow factor, that's got to run from the top to the bottom, left and right, in and out. It's got to be beautiful, aesthetically pleasing. Everything when you touch it, the mechanics of that door, the feel of the furniture in your hand has got to be positive. It's got to be sturdy. It's got to, you know, it's got to be...
Yeah.
I know it sounds a bit geeky, but making it really, really luxurious to open and close a door. And I don't know how many people think of it like that. Maybe that's just me, but, you know, premium furniture not only adds to the look, but it adds to the feel of using it. There's nothing more frustrating than, you know, if cheaper stuff has been put on a door and you like this and you know, if something's sticking or it's a bit clunky, or it doesn't feel very nice in your hand or the shape's a bit weird, you know, we wanted to offer a furniture range that was going to complement the luxurious feeling of that door rather than you know, sacrifice any of that overall look and feel.
I haven't seen the doors that you've made in our showroom, in various customer showrooms. I mean, you're making a a fantastic door.
Thank you.
Are you selling it just locally in Derby and the East Midlands, or are you?
No, I mean,
out?
as goes for the engineered doors will simply be another addition to our portfolio, and we'll deliver anywhere. You know, we've made deliveries down to Hereford. I've got one in the pipeline to Somerset. Yes, all over Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, Leicestershire, Loughborough. We've been to the Isle of Man. You know, we'll always quote jobs for wherever our customers are, because I think when I keep coming back to that retail psychology, but when customers get the bug for what they want in their mind and they find it, where you are matters slightly less, because once they know that you do something and maybe they've seen your work, or maybe a little bit of social media stalking or something like that, or maybe even travelled down. We've had customers travel up and down to us to see the product that we do. I think it sells itself. And when it's been, you know, it's using all those premium materials, those really, really sturdy quality materials that have then been put together beautifully. When a customer sees that, it kind of does the job for you, really.
Yeah, they still sort of sell
They
themselves.
do.
They do sell themselves, but I think you've got some retail marketing to go with it.
Yeah.
You've built a sort of range of products.
Yeah.
I know it's early days for you, but which styles do you think are going to be the standout sellers for you?
Oh, well, I'm a bit biased, because I'm a sucker for anything traditional looking, primarily over modern. I can't remember the name of the actual door, but it's the kind of 1920s, 1930s style with the high mid rail,
The high mid rail, the three
jointed,
panels at the
and
bottom,
and the three panels at the bottom, and then a beautiful piece of maybe Riga-led designed glass in the top to really finish it off. There was somebody that came to us with like a kind of a Remy design,
Yeah,
and in that style door, and I thought, oh God, yeah, lovely, absolutely beautiful, with the premium furniture on.
yes.
That is a beautiful door.
It's a very traditional looking. It's a very traditional looking door.
Yeah.
It looks very different from any kind of a standard PVC door.
Yeah.
You
It
do
does.
not imagine it's a
It's
a plastic door.
Yeah, I think to the layman, you wouldn't stand in front of that door a few steps back and say, oh yeah, I think that's plastic. And again, coming down to the precision with which because we specialise really, you know, in the mechanical jointing, when we get any interest in a heritage job, we always give our customers the option of having flush casements and having them mechanically jointed, because it's just a beautifully produced product at our end. It is absolutely lovely, and you know, Nick in the back does make sure that everything that goes out looks really gorgeous. So that lovely chunky mid rail, mechanically jointed, and the mullions down the bottom half of the door, it just looks great. Looks great.
Well, it's one of the doors that you've made for us, I think, for the Fit Show.
Yep.
We're only a few weeks away from the Fit Show. There's several of them. Will you be going down to the show?
Yeah, I'm going on I think at the minute on the Wednesday, and then we need to try and figure out when Nick can get down, because it's difficult for us to get down there together, because obviously we're in a position where one of us needs to kind of man the fort. But yeah, so at the Fit Show, people will have to look out for me one day and look out for Nick on another day.
Well, it's going to be great for you to come. The doors, I mean, I've seen the doors going for your factory for the show. They look absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
They're going to be taking centre stage on our stand at the Fit Show.
Really excited to see them.
You know, in a few weeks away.
Yeah.
Great to have you down on a Wednesday.
Yes.
Anybody who's watching or listening to the podcast wants to see Nat, meet Nat on the day.
Come and grab me and say
May
hello.
have changed the hair colour on the
May
day.
have changed her hair colour. Yeah, that's just to keep you all guessing. Yeah.
And to see and to see obviously to see the doors.
To see the doors
to
primarily.
see the doors. They will be there on the show down at Fettered. And I think going forward, I think this is a very interesting addition for your product range with the skills that yourself and Nick have got particular the attention to detail,
Yeah,
the premium
definitely.
quality you're putting into them. You know, we wish you every success.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank you for all the work that you've done in getting us this far with
Thank
the
you for
project.
sending it to us, yeah.
I think making the prototypes, and we will see you in a few weeks' time
Absolutely.
at the Fit Show
Yeah.
with the finished products.
Exciting times, yeah. Great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.